Sorry, thank you.
22 minutes to 7. Civil rights groups in the United States have expressed dismay after a Hispanic neighborhood watch volunteer was found not guilty of murdering an unarmed black teenager in Florida last year.
Well, George Zimmerman was acquitted of all charges relating to Trayvon Martin's death. The case, though, has sparked a fierce debate in the US about racial profiling, and there have been demonstrations against the verdict in Washington and New York. Well, joining us from Jacksonville in Florida is John Phillips, who is a lawyer and a legal commentator and was outside the court for the verdict. A very good morning to you. You are involved, aren't you, with a similar case that is also attracting headlines. What did you make, then, of this verdict? A US neighborhood watch volunteer shooting dead an unarmed black teenager who he thought was up to no good, and a police call handler saying, please don't follow him. The Trayvon Martin dies, but George Zimmerman walks free. What do you make of that?
You know, as my father always used to say, if you don't start any mess, there won't be any. And that's what this case was all about. It was about, you know, a neighborhood watch volunteer in a country where there are 300 million people, but about 300 million guns. And, you know, he took a gun to a situation, there was a confrontation, a kid wound up dead. You know, he profiled him that he was a burglar and all he had was a pack of candy and a soda. And, you know, the trial was had, they went for, there's 3 different classifications of murder. They went for a pretty high classification, didn't prove it, and now the killer walks.
Of course, the defence, George Zimmerman's defence, which of course is accepted by the jury because he's been acquitted, is that he thought he was in danger, and therefore there is a defence, isn't there, the stand your ground defence. Now, it's a different defence to the self-defence law in the UK. So can you explain what is different about it in the US?
Yeah, there's two aspects of it. There's stand your ground, which is generally a pre-trial defense, and then there's general self-defense and justified homicide. And if you're in imminent fear of your life, you can take a life. You know, the problem here and where the controversy is was Zimmerman could have gotten out of his car. He could have yelled from his car window, "Hey, what are you doing?" But he went and almost stalked this kid. And then, you know, there was a question of whether there was a fight, and the other controversy lies in the dead man doesn't get the chance to talk. So, you know, the kid was killed, and the main piece of evidence was a picture of George Zimmerman, so the neighborhood watch's bloody nose, and so he said that he was in imminent fear of his life and had to shoot and kill Trayvon.
Well, of course, President Obama, very aware of the sort of tensions that this verdict might cause, has said, you know, we are in a nation of laws. It's effectively a call for calm. How important is that the President speaks out at this moment? It
was also a controversial aspect in the beginning, because one of the first things when this happened that President Obama said was that Trayvon could have been his son. And his point was the broader point that we need to treat everybody as if they have children and they have parents. It was a point of respect. But now that the rule of law has found George Zimmerman innocent, not guilty of killing because of the self-defense, he had to come back and say, look, we need to unite behind this jury verdict. This is upon one of the founding principles of this country.
And is there any prospect of any more legal action, do you think, in this case?
There's a criminal side and a civil side. They can sue civilly for money damages under wrongful death laws. There's also some possible federal legislation, but I don't think that's going to happen, or litigation. But generally, they can sue him for any money damages. And in a case like this, George Zimmerman will have some notoriety and have some assets that they can go after, and it's a much easier standard to prove.
John Phillips, we appreciate your time. Thanks very much indeed.